Hi, and welcome back to Can I Be Honest with Megan Coleman. On today's episode, I sit down with Mariah Martinez. Mariah was only 20 years old when she found out she was pregnant with her first daughter, Corinne, and then about 19 months later, she had her second daughter, Penelope. We talk about co-parenting, being a young mom, a working mom, and what life looks like for her and her girls today. So I hope you listen in and enjoy. Go ahead and start wherever you want.
Yeah, so basically, like, my story, my background is, like, I have two kids, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and when I first got pregnant, I was with Cello, their dad, and I was 20 at the time, and, you know, my pregnancy, that was a surprise, because at the time, I was on birth control, but I had like missed a couple pills on a week, and so it like really like messed up my cycle, and I was like, okay, well, like, this is freaking me out. I'm gonna just like stop taking it cold turkey for a while, and then I'm gonna get right back on it so that my body can like readjust, be normal again. And like that part I remember. And then I guess like I just never got my period. You know, and my friend at the time, you probably told her, she was like, oh, like, you're probably pregnant, ha ha ha, you know, the stuff. And I'm just like, oh, don't know about that. But it took me a while to actually take a test, because like for me, I'm like, I can't have a kid right now. Like,
that's super
young. I didn't want to like really think that was the case, but you know, it ended up being the case, and I was pregnant at 20. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do? Because like my my parents, they would not help out, and they are kind of like the type where they're like, yeah, like we're not here to babysit nobody's kids, you know. And so like I knew that about them, because my sister and my stepbrother, they had kids, and so I was just kind of like, darn, like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this, hopefully, you know, Cello's family will help and everything. And they did, like, within the first year. But like my pregnancy just caught me by surprise, and so being pregnant, I just kind of was like, okay, I'll just go with it, like I'll get fat, like whatever. And it was fine, because I didn't have any morning sickness, and so that was like really cool. I thought that was like one of the signs of being pregnant. So at first I was like, I'm not pregnant, like I'm not throwing up or anything, but like that was just not the case for me. And my first pregnancy, I gained 60 pounds. Like I went all in. And like I craved biscuits and apple butter from not Applebee's, Lucille's. Lucille's, that was like a craving. And then Thai iced teas, Thai food, like, so like, yeah, I gained 60 pounds, and that was crazy. But when I gained the weight, Cello also gained the weight, because, you know, we were just kind of like stressing, like we just had a lot going on at that time. And so when like it came time to deliver, I was like working. I worked all the way up until like maybe 3 days before giving birth, or something like that. Like I remember coming home, my feet would be so swollen and like freaking red like tomatoes, like, and it was just like, it was starting to be awful. But I was like, whatever, like I'll do it, because we needed to like work and save money and all these things, because like at the time, you know, we're renting, and like we were being kind of fools. Like we both had car payments and like just stuff going on. And so yeah, I worked up until like 3 days before giving birth, and then so I took a couple days off before my due date. But let's see, Corinne was supposed to be due on like the 9th of January, and she came January 7th, 2014. And when I started having contractions, it was like in the middle of the night, and they just came, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like I think it's time, like let's go to the hospital. And like same sort of situation with you, like you had to go back and forth a couple times and stuff. And so like I went there, and they're like, oh, you're not even like 4 centimeters dilated, like sorry, you have to leave, go walk, go exercise, do all this stuff. And I was like, really? Like, because I'm sitting there and all my contractions, like they're heavy, and like it's getting to a point where I'm like, dude, like this is crazy, like I can barely walk. And so Cello was like, all right, well, let's just walk around, let's do whatever they're saying to do. And I think I went back and forth like 3 different times before like the 4th time they're like, okay, you're like exactly at 4 or something, so we'll get you a room. Like that happened to me, and they got me in a room, and like I took the epidural like almost immediately, because I was in so much pain. Like I actually remember in between going back and forth, they had to give me like a pill, and I think they had to give me like something else, like morphine or something, to try to calm me down so I could sleep, because they wouldn't give me a room yet because I wasn't dilated enough, and like that helped for like 2 hours and then wore off quick. So like I just felt like a dying cow. Like it was ridiculous. But so finally got me a room, and then I had the baby, and it was like super easy, like push whatever. And yeah, she came, and in that moment, like it was just so worth it to have, you know, your little baby all in, like skin to skin and everything. And like, you know, Cello at the time, you know, he was like in the room and recording everything, and he was all happy and stuff. So like it was cool. She was a really good baby, like for my first child. Like sleeping and everything the first 2 months was super hard.
Oh, really?
But then after 2 months, like she just started sleeping like a solid rock. And literally from this, like to this day, she'll sleep in, and like she doesn't wake up with any noise in the night. Like with Penelope, like having her cry tantrums and stuff, like Corinne's just like solid asleep for the most part. So like she's always kind of been that same way. And so like our first year with Corinne, like that was good. Like, you know, learned a lot. My first month being pregnant or having my baby, my first month I didn't leave the house at all, like at all, because I was so anxious about everything, and I was a mess. I was like I tried breastfeeding for like two full months. I think I did it, because after 2 months I had to go back to work. And it was really hard, and I couldn't do it. Like I know some people who do it like 1 year or 2 years, and like, whoa, that's really cool, but I only lasted 2 months. And I couldn't hang. Like, and I remember me and Stella would butt heads, like, because he'd be like, you need to give her more breast milk, you need to stick to it, you need to do this, and I'm like, no, there's no way, like I can't, like I can't, like
it's a lot.
So and then I guess, let's see, I counted up until like before this, I was like, how many months apart are my kids? And they're like 19 or 20 months apart. And the second like I found out I was pregnant with Penelope, that again, I feel like if I'm remembering correctly, it was like the same situation. I got back on birth control, and I like stopped taking it again because it messed up my cycle, and I'm like bleeding weird, whatever. And so I had plans to get back on it, and then in that time frame I think I got pregnant again. And so that was, but they're both surprises. And so my pregnancy with Penelope, that one, how'd that go? I think that one was really good too. The only thing was I stopped working like a month before I gave birth, because like I just felt like, okay, after the second one, like I'm winded. I can't last as long as I did the first time. And I think I gained like 50 pounds with her, so not much difference. And when she came, like that night that I started having contractions, like my sister made me homemade Thai food before, and she was like, this is gonna make her
spicy
come. Yeah, it was a little spicy, and so I like, it could be a coincidence, but it really like put me into contractions that night. And I remember waking up being like, hey, like, you know, Cello, I'm having contractions, like I think we need to go. And it was like midnight or something. And at that time we were living with my sister, because we were like in the middle of buying a house, and we're in escrow, so we're living at my sister's house, and there's like all these things going on. And I told him, and he's like, no, this is the same situation as last time, just go back to bed. And I'm like, oh, no dude, like I'm having contractions, let's go now. He is not really buying it. He's just taking his sweet old time, like, oh no, I'm like, just sleep, I'm telling you, this is what's, and I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, I'm having contractions, like, let's go. And so finally it just felt like forever for him to like get up and, you know, all that. So we get in the car and we're almost to Sutter, and he's like, oh, let me pull in the gas station, I need coffee. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, I'm having everything. So I get there this time, and they check me, and they're like, oh, you're 8 centimeters, like, let's get going. And I'm like, I like remember just looking at him like,
told you.
And that was really, that's a funny story. But so, and then Penelope comes, and like, let's see, I got epidural with that one too, because even though I was already like 8 centimeters and stuff, I was just like, no way, give it to me now. And then she came along, and then like having two was crazy because at the time, like me and Cello, we had dogs, and we were living with my sister for like a while, and we were trying to buy a house. And then, you know, mine and Cello's relationship at the time was just not really, you know, it was just kind of, it was very sketch. Like, we're having another kid, and you know, all this stuff. And so we did our best with everything that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of stress in everything that we were doing because we were doing everything so fast. But like, I don't know, we didn't really work well together. But then here we are having, you know, 2 kids, and like, I mean, we got along, but we had some problems. And you know, I think Penelope was 6 or 7 months old, and Corinne had just turned 2 when me and Cello like separated. And then at that time, you know, we had just bought our house. We lived there for a couple months. And
oh, you bought a house together?
Yeah, we bought a house together, lived there a couple months, and you know, we had our daughters. And like, I just knew at the time, like, I needed to do this, because like, without going into great detail, like, we just weren't working well together. And so I ended up moving back in with my parents, which I didn't directly come to them being like, hey, like, you know, I need you guys right now, like, because it's very awkward for me. Like, I'm not like super close with my mom at all, and like, I just felt like, even if I did ask her, like, hey, can I move in with you guys? Like, she'd say no, so I never went that route. But then my sister, I guess, like, went around and, like, talked to them about it for me. Because I remember calling her crying one day, like, ooh, boo-hoo, you know, like, I cannot do this. I don't know what I'm doing, like, all this stuff. Like, where do I go? What do I do? And she was kind of the one that, like, talked to my parents. And then my stepdad was like, I was at their house one day, and it was just, like, me and the girls. And my stepdad's like, hey, like, you know, what's going on? And I was like, oh, well, I just kind of explained some things. And he was like, okay, well, if you really are, you know, doing this, and if this is what you need to do, like, okay, come live here, but like, only for a couple months. I'm like, okay. So then me and him separated, and that was just so, it was a crazy little transition of our lives, because like, we were together for 6 years. And after having 2 kids, like, man, I just was like, I was just really sad. Like, how is this going to work out? And like, am I doing the right thing? And then to me, I'm like, yes, you're doing the right thing. But it was a really bad transition for all of us, because I moved out, and like, living with my parents, that's in itself is like, will make you feel some sort of way, especially when you have 2 kids. Yeah. And Cello and me were just, you know, kind of going at it. And as months went on and years went on, like right now, me and Cello, we work okay together. And Matt, my boyfriend now, like, we all try to get along. We all, you know, do our best with that. And like, Matt, very, very mature guy. He is like, I just feel lucky to be with somebody who's like able to say, hey, you know what, you guys are both like being ridiculous. Like, this is the solution. Like, if you guys can't like talk to each other, figure it out. If you guys can't get along, like, just, like, let me figure it out, let me do it. And I'm just like, okay. But like, that happens here and there. But for the most part, like, we do our best to get along and to work things out with each other. And like, you know, the girls, they see their dad, they're with us, like, but sometimes it's just really challenging, because you know, sometimes I feel a certain way, I get all stressed out, and then I'll take it out on Cello, and then vice versa. If he feels like he's cornered or something, he takes it out on me. And we try not to let the girls see us like that. But for the most part, like, we're all on the same page. We want the girls to be happy. We want them to be busy, like, socialize, you know, hang out with friends. Like, they have been going to preschool since Corinne was 1. So Corinne started going when she was 1 year old. The first 12 months, Cello's parents like helped watch her, so that was like really, really awesome. And then when we had Penelope, like, having 2 in daycare, like, we've been paying like $1,600 a month just for the childcare. And like, you know, when I had car payment and he had car payment, like, all these things, like, ooh, it was very stressful times. But, things are working out, and Corinne's like about to start kindergarten, and that is like, oh, I took a week off of work because it's just it's so crazy how fast time flies, you know?
Yeah.
And Penelope will be 4 in September, and it's interesting because, you know, me being a mom of 2 girls, it's very rewarding. It's like, you know, the best at times, but then also it's like, you know, they can be, they're starting to fight a lot. Like, they're at the age, yes, they fight a lot. And it's just like, sometimes I try to stop it. I try to do, they don't want to listen to me, so it's like, you know, it just gets, yeah, and it just gets really, really stressful. Yeah. And Matt does his best in trying to, you know, he plays with them, he'll watch them sometimes if I'm working or Stella's working, like, you know, and he will take them like to the pool, he'll take them to like aquatic centers, play dates, like, I don't know, we've got like a couple friends that have kids their age, and like we all love to link up and get together, and so, but yeah, otherwise, like watching your blogs and listening about like other people's stories of like, you know, separating and having like, you know, bonus moms, bonus dads, like, I'm not me being with Matt right now, like, we're not engaged or anything like that, but we've been together for about 3 years now, and so he's like a big part of the girls' lives. And Cello, you know, at first was really like, who is this guy? Like on defense, like, no, like, I'm the dad, like the girl, like, you know, but everything's just kind of chilled out now, and we're all fine, and I understand why he, you know, was kind of a certain way in the beginning, but I probably will be too if there's ever, you know, I don't know, I try to tell myself like, oh, if there's ever another girl that comes into the girls' lives, like, it's gonna happen, so hopefully I do okay with that. But I don't know, I feel like I've grown a lot in the last couple of years since having the girls. Like, I really do feel like I've changed a lot in a couple ways, but also, you know, stress, if that consumes me on a certain day, I don't know, it's just, we have been very fortunate to have 2 beautiful little girls, and like, yes, they're very, very lovely, very funny. You know, they are daddy's girls for sure. They kind of give me a hard time. I don't know if it's because I'm mom, or if like I'm a girl, they're girls, like, whatever, but I don't know, I'll take it for what it is. I don't know, do you have any like questions about like certain situations, or like
when you first split? So Penelope was, how old, you said like 6 or 7 months?
6, 7 months.
I mean, I just feel like that had to be a really difficult decision for you as a mom to, you know, with this baby.
It was, and without saying like too much, like, I just, at that time,
it was right
between me and their dad, like, we weren't, there was always some issue between us, and like, I couldn't let go of certain things. He couldn't let go of certain things at times, and so like, I don't know, I just felt like when I'd be like really sad about whatever it was that was going on in our relationship, like when you have like a certain feeling that just consumes you to like just so much sadness, like I could not do that, especially after having a second. And, you know, I was trying to dodge the whole postpartum depression thing so hard. Like, I was trying to dodge it. I went to the gym, like, almost like when I got the clearance, like, hey, you're good to go work out, whatever. Like, I would be in the gym, like, every day for like 2 months, just trying to shed all this baby weight. Like, and I did. but still, like, you know, I was like, man, I'm not happy. And he probably wasn't happy with me either. I mean, maybe he can admit that now, I don't know, but I still feel like what I did was like the best decision, because like you just have to be you have to be happy with yourself if you're gonna try to be a good parent. And for me, like, I want to try to be a good parent so bad, because like my own mom, to me, when I was like young, just not a good mom. So like, for me, I'm like, I have to take that so serious, and like try to be like the best mom to these girls that I can. And part of me separating with Stella was because like, I just felt like, you know what, if I'm not going to be happy, then I'm just going to, I can't do this. I can't. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure he understands that now.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very hard because, you know, like, we were together for like 6 years, and like, I was super young when we got together. I was like 17. And so at the time, I'm like, oh yeah, like, we'll be together. And, you know, it's just all these things happen, and like, we just can't. We can't. And so, like, it's hard because, like, Corinne, she will say, like, oh, you know, I wish my parents were back together. You know, she'll make comments like that, or, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I understand, like, I understand, baby, like, you know, I felt that before, because, like, my parents were, I was 3 when my parents, my mom and my dad, when they divorced. So, like, when they divorced, all that I kind of knew when I was younger was, like, okay, I go with my dad sometimes, and then I'm with my mom. Like, I don't know, I don't really remember being, like, super, super sad about them splitting up. Like, I'd just be sad, like, oh, I miss my dad. Like, if I got in trouble or something, like, oh, my dad. Like, I remember that.
Yeah.
And so Corinne and Penelope, they'll sometimes do that. Like, if they're in trouble or something, oh, I want my dad. And we're like, ugh. But I'm like, okay, that's, and I'll tell Matt, I'm like, okay, no, that's normal. Matt he's a trooper because, you know, he helps take care of 2 girls that aren't his.
Yeah, you guys live together?
Mm-hmm, we live together, and, like, he totally treats them as if they were. And, like, Cello has developed, you know, a lot of respect for Matt because he sees, like, okay, like, this guy, you know, he's like, no drama, no drama, he means very well, and, like, okay, like, at the end of the day,
he's earned it, especially over the years.
And so, like, for me, like, you know, if Stella ever gets into another relationship, I'm just, like, hoping that that person's, like, just a good person. And so, I just, like, at this point in time, currently, like, you know, Corinne's about to start kindergarten, and Penelope, she's in, like, you know, her own preschool, and me, Matt, Stella, we all work full time. So we do our best, you know, sharing the girls, and, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I'll tell Stella, like, hey, these are the days, like, make sure you're available these days, like, her first day, orientation, things like that. We try to communicate, and we help each other out a lot. But like I said, it's not like a perfect situation, because there's some days where we get things off our chest at each other, but for the most part, it's okay. But it's definitely, like, there was a certain point where when me and Matt first got together, like, I had just gotten out of the relationship with Stella, and having, like, 2 young kids, both in diapers at the time. Like, I was just kind of like, ooh, I'm not sure if what I'm doing is, like, even worth it. Like, is this guy really gonna, like, what am I thinking right now? And I don't know.
How do you guys meet?
Work.
Oh, okay. What do you do for work?
I work at AT&T, so full-time retail job. Sometimes, like, I work, like, later days, and, like, sometimes I have to work weekends, and, like, on the weekends, if Stella's working, like, Matt is off on the weekends, so, like, he'll watch the girls, or, you know, do something fun with them, or take them to his parents' house. And Matt's parents are, like, super great, super loving people. Cool. And so, like, the girls are lucky to have, like, quite a few people around that, you know, like to help watch them, you know, enjoy their company. But yeah, we all are just, like, making it work. And we don't really have anything, like, figured out. We just kind of figured things out as the days go on. Like, we have no real consistent, like,
this is what works, and
it's just like, okay, like, Stella, what's your schedule? Okay, this is my schedule, then these days, you know.
Oh, okay, so you don't have, like, set days, you guys just
no, we just kind of roll and share at the moment.
Wow.
Roll with it.
That's kind of cool. That's really, like, mature that you guys are able to do that. And
I mean, it's kind of like what we have to do, because at the end of the day, like, we all know, like, it's the girls, like, they're what matter. And you know, if they go, like, too long without seeing their dad or something, then we're like, hey, dude, like, but it's just, it's good for how we're going at it now. And I as a mom and everything, like, on my days off, I enjoy taking them to do play dates and park and like gymnastics and like ballet, all these things that like I never got to do any of that when I was a little girl. And so like here they are just living their best life, and like some days I'm stressed. I want to, you know, hide and take a break, but it's like as long as they're happy, then I'm happy.
So as someone who also has two very close together, I mean not as close, but still, when does it get easier? It's just difficult right now. So does it ever?
I don't know, honestly. Like for me, because my girls, they do well, like, you know, when they're around people, around their little friends and stuff. But like, man, on like a Saturday morning, or like, you know, sometimes in the mornings they wake up, and Corinne can wake up in a good mood, she can wake up in a bad mood. It could be like an okay morning, and then it could be like a really bad morning, like, oh, and then I go to work, and on my drive to work I'm just like, oh, I feel so guilty, like why did we just not all get along this morning? It's at the moment I don't think it's really easy still. Like I kind of feel like maybe when like Penelope was like a baby and like I was doing the bottle thing, like maybe that was the easiest time. I don't know.
Great.
Because like it was just very peaceful, being like, oh, okay, let's sleep with the bottle, and like that's just so lovely. But then now it's like they're always whining at me, wanting something, and I'm over here like, oh gosh, like I haven't even showered yet, and then they're crying about something, somebody got hit in the face, kicked in the face. Like I wouldn't know the answer to that. Like Corinne just transitioned to like, she doesn't go to preschool currently. She's in like a summer adventure club program, and she starts kindergarten in like 2 weeks. But when she started going to this summer adventure club program, like they don't do naps there, like cold turkey, just no naps here, right? So like the first like week and a half, and even like I think it's gotten a little bit better, but like the first week and a half or something, like by the time I get home and she's already been home for like an hour or something, like she is just so spent. And she's like not even the same person. Like one little thing will tick her off so bad, and you're just the enemy, you know what I mean? And that part's like pretty ridiculous, but I'm like, okay, I get it. Like she has long days, there's no naps, like she's still so little. And then like being at Adventure Club around all the big kids, she's kind of picked up a little bit of their attitudes, or like their rudeness of big kids. And so I'll hear her say things to Penelope, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like you know like or like Penelope colored her a picture this morning, and Corinne got so mad because it was one from her backpack, and started saying like, those are scribbles, that's not coloring, those are scribbles. And I'm like, dude, that's so sad. She just made this picture for you, and like she just wants you to like it, and she's all, I don't care. And I'm just like,
I know, it's heartbreaking
because I'm like, what do I say? Do I just keep fighting with her? I don't want to make her feel like I'm like really attacking her, but at the same time, like that's not cool. And I just don't know. And I honestly still don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's the best approach. Like, man, do I like scold her and like get her in trouble for saying that to me? Cool, I don't care with the attitude. Or do I just like, I don't know, because that I start to worry. I'm like, oh, is she gonna be like kind of like brat, or is she just is this just like a little phase of like picking up attitude from big kids? I don't really know. It all scares me.
No, so. That's like the scariest part, I feel like, that you don't think about.
I don't want to raise bad kids.
Right. But then when the situation comes up,
they're bad kids, but no, like, you know, I just
I don't know what to do in those situations either. Same thing.
It's really hard, because at the end of the day I'm like, man, like sometimes I just feel like so exhausted. I don't know how to deal with this. Or it's like, man, like, okay, did I take that in the wrong way, and like did I like totally like scold her and make her feel like, I'm still figuring things out.
They're fragile.
They're very fragile, and I gotta be careful, because she's the big sister, and I don't want to make her feel like Penelope is like, because Penelope's the youngest one, that like I babied Penelope. There's all these thoughts that random that I'm like, okay, be careful with that. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. Like, okay, go apologize to Corinne. Like,
that's what. It's exhausting.
It's a roller coaster, and then it's like 3 girls, and then, you know, Matt just sometimes he's just like, I'm reading, I'm watching your blogs and everything, and I'm like, yes, I feel that. I know totally what she's saying right there. Wine is life. I don't know what else.
No, when I was going through that with Oliver in the sleep training, and you were just like, dude, just
Oh yeah,
He just has to cry.
because both of my kids were night and day different with their
Yeah.
sleeping, and then like I hear, you know, you're having all these troubles, and I'm like, man, like we totally went through that with Penelope. We try to go to bed in our bed, like we try to go to bed in our bed, but then they want to lay in our bed. They take up all the space, and then like poor Matt, you know, he has to sleep like on the couch or in Penelope's bed or something because they, you know, or like I'll try to move them, like they'll fall asleep in our bed, and then I'll try to move them in their bed, which is kind of ridiculous. I have to do that every night because Corinne's like on the top bunk, carrying, taking her just like out of my bed, carrying her up to her bunk daddy, like, and then she's always pretty good. She doesn't really wake up in the middle of the night. But for me having to do that every night because she won't fall asleep in her bed right now, like that's silly. And then Penelope, I'll move her, and then in the middle of the night she'll find herself right back to our bed in the middle of the night, like every time. Doesn't fail.
She just comes in there.
Like 3 in.the morning she'll just run in and then sleep. But then there was a time like when she was 2 to 3, maybe even 3 years old, where she'd have a random little scream fest in the middle of her sleep, like, and wake me and Matt up, and like we couldn't get her to calm down for like, I don't know, a good hour sometimes or more, like, and I would be like exhausted because I'm just woken up to all this like craziness, not knowing what to do. But sometimes, you know, like giving her a bottle or something would calm her down, having to walk her like up and down the stairs or something. And like she started doing this too when I was living at my parents' house, and I was living there for like a year or maybe a little under a year. My timeline I don't remember, but when I was living there, she started doing it, like screaming her head off in the middle of the night, and I was just so like, like don't wake up my mom and my stepdad, because like they're already like me having to put Penelope to sleep in her crib as a baby was really interesting too, because every time I'd like think that I got her to sleep, I'd lay her in her crib and she would just like wake back up and like freak out, and like I'd literally have to sit there and rock her until like I felt like my back was gonna break, like my arms were so sore. And but yeah, you know, like all of that, I feel like it felt like it went by so quickly thinking about it now, that it's like oh, like that little precious time when she was in her footy pajamas and she was just like a little baby. Like now they're both so big now, like they're like wearing the same size clothing out of nowhere. And but you know, they're girls about it, so it's like, that's my shirt, no, you can't wear that. They're still very good for the most part. It's just, you know, all the days, they have long days too, so I have to think about that. Like I'm at work, they're at freaking school, not with their parents or anything, so like I have to stop and think like, okay, so they're stressed, we're stressed, like but I don't know. I mean, I could probably like stop working, like, you know, today, tomorrow, the next day. I just feel like them being in school and all of that, like, man, they learn a lot there. Like Corinne, she knew how to like fully write her name, like pretty, like I felt like pretty quickly. And like like the next thing we have to work on is the reading. We have to do our best with that, because like it's almost like the whole potty training thing. Like Corinne was like, she started potty training at 3. I remember when she was like 2 years old, I tried to like almost force it, and I'm like realizing now I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And you know, there'd be times where like, you know, I would just try to force it so hard, and then eventually I was just like, you know what, whatever, like. And then it was a couple days after she turned 3, she finally like because Penelope potty trained like super quick though, and I think it's because Corinne was already doing it and she watched her and all this. Like Penelope potty trained like 3 months before she turned 2. I remember we went to Disneyland, and she was like in chonies that whole time, and it was stressful for me because I'm like, I can't wait in a Disneyland line for like 30 minutes. Like I gotta check in and take a potty and stuff, and so like it was kind of stressful when we went on that trip, but it worked out fine. I think she like maybe peed her pants like one time chonies or whatever. So you know, I can't imagine having another one though at this time, because like with our days and how they go, and like with the emotions that like I am dealing with on them and like myself, it's like, oh,
do you want more kids?
Third, I don't know. Like both my pregnancies were like cakewalk. Like I would do another pregnancy again, but do I want another child? I don't know, because like the girls, I'm like really trying to be focused on like them. And what's really hard about having kids so close together is they kind of take a lot, like they take a lot from each other, like as far as like if I'm trying to do something with Corinne like one-on-one, it's very short-lived because Penelope will come up and like she'll do something and make Corinne mad, and then there's like this whole chaos thing, and like we can't really focus on one thing. So that part's really difficult about having them so close together. Me and Cello and Matt should probably figure out more of like, oh, okay, you take one and we'll have one, and like we'll switch off so that we get more one-on-one time with them, like, because like I have to start doing like, you know, homework with Corinne soon, and like practicing reading more, and like I just can't really have the distractions of like, oh, like she colored on my paper, what, freak out, you know, or like I said, we don't have things like really figured out. We're just kind of doing what works best and still trying to figure out what works better. So.
I think, I mean, obviously it's the first time we've met each other, but I think it seems like you're doing a great job.
I try my best, but like I'll be very real about like there's nights where like I'll come home and like they're, you know, not listening to me, or like the house is a mess, or like I tell them not to do something, and then somebody like bumps their head and gets hurt because I was telling them not to do it. They didn't listen to me, and then like there's just sometimes where I just want to be like, oh my gosh, like let me go upstairs and just like shut the door and just like be by myself, because like things like that happen. And being very real about that part, I think is like good to share with other people, other moms, and even people who aren't moms, like giving you a piece of what it's like. Yeah, because literally every single mom I've ever sat down with says that they have those exact moments, and everyone says the same exact thing. I just want to go shut myself in a room and be alone for a minute. And I think when you are feeling that way, it's heavy in the moment. You feel super guilty. So sad. You just feel so sad. You just feel like, oh, you failed or something. Like you feel like, man, why can't I just like, why am I being a baby at this time? Like, but like kids need me, but like I just need a second. So it is comforting when you hear like even moms that maybe you follow on social media or something that you think like they have it all together, right? Or like they don't feel this way ever. You know, like I've had those moments where like random moms who I don't even know or something, I'll think like they would never have this moment. Or, you know, like they probably have way more patience with their kids, or they don't yell at them like I just did. I feel bad because like I said, if I am talking to the girls and I tell them, hey, you know, come here, we gotta brush your hair, and they ignore me once, and then I say, okay, like, come on guys, let's brush your hair, we're gonna be late, and they ignore me again, or like, you know what I mean, like it gets to a point where I have to, for them to listen, and I'm like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? It just feels very chaotic at times, but as long as the girls they're healthy and they're happy for the most part, I think these, because their age, they're very fragile. And with things setting them off and them like, you know, fighting with each other and stuff, I'm like, okay, like I don't expect it to get better, you know, because as they grow up and they become like little preteens and things like that, like that'll be interesting. But separating and when the kids are so little, it's hard on them, and we know it. So, but we do our best to keep them busy. Thanks for having me and letting me share, you know, kind of what I have going on. No, thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe.